Hey folks, let's have a little pep talk. I'd like to lead into this with part of the story that we covered this morning about the loss of the magnetic field, triggering the appearance of all these new species, something that Robert Felix, a good friend of mine, may he rest in peace, wrote about in Magnetic Reversals and Evolutionary Leaps. The disappearance of species and the appearance of new ones appears time and time again with these magnetic pole shifts, which we are entering again now, which is accelerating now. There have been a flurry of comments on this morning's video suggesting I'm not a real Christian because I can't possibly believe that that story is fact. It's to believe in evolution and not creation. I look around this realm, I understand the subatomic, and I understand the cosmologically large. I see no evidence of random, chaos, collisions, gravity over eons being the driving force for what we see before us today. I see nothing but engineering. Speaking of that engineering, would the greatest engineer create this place only to have to toil and tweak every little thing that goes on? Or are math, nature, geometry, sequences, patterns, cause and effect the result of his works, his tools here? What I ask those same people, why do you think God is such a shitty engineer? No, better yet, my question is, where did you get the courage? Where do you get the balls to accuse God of being such a shitty engineer? I don't have those kind of guts. You're certainly braver than I am to suggest such a thing. See how stupid that sounds, right? It's like when I see people saying, if all this is true, I wouldn't want to survive it. And I know immediately they don't have children. Because for those who do, and who are anything like me, you will weather whatever weather, whether you want to or not. It's inside you. You can't stop it. It's a drive. You don't fear this thing that's coming. You're cautious about it, perhaps anxious about it, but these are the works. This is the process. There is no escaping it. So you can run and hide, you can cower and cry, or you can put on your helmet and go into battle. Think you know which one I've chosen, and I know which one many of you have chosen as well. It has been an interesting 2 months. On the heels of an interesting year overall. The calls for me being a crazy, pseudoscientific loon for suggesting that the auroral records and the unexpectedly high KP index, the geomagnetic storm effect from modest, relatively puny space weather, was a clear sign that things had accelerated. The calls against me when I was saying that in November and December and January, eerily reminiscent of what they said when I was discussing micronova, and they said, this is not a thing. You're crazy. That doesn't exist. There are supernova and there are nova. There are some dwarf nova, but those happen in a completely different way. This micronova thing, you're crazy, until all of a sudden, astronomers have discovered micronova. Now they've discovered dozens. Similarly, with my discussion of the acceleration of this magnetic pole shift, the record aurora last year, the unexpectedly high KP index, which has continued into this year, as most of you regular viewers know, coupled with what is so far the paper of the year by Sergei Semenenko. He's one of the top geophysicists in Russia, suggesting, hey, here's the data. It shows clearly we had a major magnetic anomaly in March of 2023. This is what has caused the recent acceleration. This is why that puny space weather is doing so much. It is why we shattered auroral records last year. It is why the KP index is off the chart with no good explanation other than our magnetic field is fading much faster. It happened just a few days ago. Again. This pep talk is for me to say to you, do not be so rigid in a belief system that disempowers you. Do not think things are so black and white, this or that. Nuance, minutia are things for a reason. I do not recommend you cower. I do not recommend you run and hide. I do not recommend that you cry. It is a personal belief of mine that each of our souls had the choice to come here now, and we chose to do so. We chose to be here for this, for a reason. For many of us, that is to survive. For many of us, that is to help others survive, either directly or indirectly. Many of us are likely to die never knowing the full extent of that purpose. But that does not diminish its importance. Now is not the time to look away. Now is not the time to second guess. Now is not the time to falter. The cosmic stands in the stadium are full. The players are on the field. The game clock is about to begin. You have this in you. Every single human alive today is the descendant of a survivor of the last one, and the one before that, and the one before that. This terrible disaster cycle, Earth's catastrophe. And survival, endurance is in your DNA. Don't forget it. Don't give up. You have no idea what luck may have in store for you, or what butterfly chaotic effect down the line every action and word of yours has on somebody into the future. Not giving up, surviving. This is what we're here for. Our purpose. For each other. It's gotten to the point now where when people start to say those sorts of things, there's no such thing as a micronova. There's no way you could possibly tell that the magnetic field has accelerated. Just like they said, there's no way you're right about dark matter. They're going to find it any day. There's no way you're right about electromagnetic pre-earthquake signals. There's no way you're right about the sun being able to impact seismic activity, precipitation patterns, global temperatures, hurricanes, jet streams. When I hear these things, a little clock starts ticking in my head. How long until they start saying it themselves? Similarly, how much longer will we get people who are so rigid in their beliefs that they insist on believing that their eyes and their ears are lying to them? Not somebody else's words, their own eyes and ears. How long will we get people so rigid in their beliefs that they insist on disempowering themselves? How long will we have to deal with the incredulity, the disbelief? I feel for those of you out there who are still talking about Fight Club, so to speak. I can say that I'm not going to stop doing these videos and putting the information out there. But my days of breaking my back just to try to get one more person to wake up are over. Many are still going to do it. They're going to see it, get inspired, do the homework. They're going to figure it out. But we don't have the time to be doing anything other than empowering ourselves and preparing for this. I don't know if the next acceleration, and by the way, these have been coming every couple of years, by the way. So the next one, 2026, 2028, 2030. I don't know if the next acceleration will be the one that takes us to 100x speed. But once we hit that point, there are months left. We could get lucky. The next one could be a minor acceleration. We might not get the major acceleration for more than a decade. That's not a smart bet, putting all your eggs in that basket, though. This pep talk is to tell you it's time to turn it up another gear with your information processing and with your preparation. For you, for your children, for your friends and family, and as I alluded before, for people you don't even know. I'll see you in the morning for the Daily Show. Be safe, everyone.